Fortunately, we are living in an era in which people are exercising their God-given right to their freedom to think. Y'all, you know, we used to didn't have the freedom to think. I mean, even though we had it, we didn't use it because we would suffer psychological and spiritual abuse if you thought outside of the box.
Another pagan god from Persia, identified as Mithra, was said to have been born specifically on December 25th. Mithra was the god of the unconquerable sun, the god of the light between heaven and earth, worshipped at that time by an influential Roman cult. His birth symbolized an end to the long nights and a return to the dominance of the sun. During the month-long winter solstice celebration, courts in Rome were closed. Any and all crimes were allowed. Homosexuality, cross-dressing, and uncontrolled debauchery reigned supreme. Rome's order was turned upside down. Even children were allowed to join in the drunken orgies as part of the Juvenalia celebration. By 270 AD, the Roman Emperor Aurelian had made it official, setting aside a 7-day period from December the 17th through the 24th, culminating in an exchange of gifts on December the 25th to celebrate the birth of the sun god. This Roman orgy to end all orgies later became known as Saturnalia, in honor of the god Saturn, the god of excess. Roman soldiers invading Britain brought with them their pagan orgiastic traditions. Upon taking root in England, Saturnalia became known as the Festival of Fools, reigned over by the Lord of Misrule. By the 4th century, the influential government-sanctioned Church of Rome, unable to outlaw the growing number of pagan practices, chose instead to adopt them into their so-called official Christianity. The Church believed this would attract more pagans.
And the most damaging thing you can do to a spiritual people is have them to suffer from a psychological impairment by taking on non-spiritual ways. I hope this is making sense to y'all. I found out that too many black folk want the Christ Mass of the Roman Catholic Church. Too many black folk long for the Christ Mass of the Roman Catholic Church. Too many black folk crave for the Christ Mass. That's what it used to be called, y'all, before it was changed to Christmas. Guess what, y'all? In fact, our people who suffer from this psychopathology literally need it to exist. Why do they need it to exist, Pastor Ray? Because their psychological impairment, their psychopathology demands it. That's right. I just told you that the most powerful and most effective psychopathology is the belief in something simply because you want it to exist. It doesn't exist, but you want it to. Now, remember that when you try to free your African brothers and sisters' minds. When you try to let them know that they're believing in something that Greco-Roman bishops made up in the year 325 AD at the Nicene Council. When you try to tell them that and they attack you, understand that's their psychopathic behavior. They don't know it. And you know why they don't know it? Because the masses are suffering from the same psychological impairment.
Up until this time, the birthday of Jesus Christ, the Jewish Messiah, had not been celebrated at all. Ignoring scriptures, however, indicating that the birth probably did not occur during the winter, the church nevertheless confused biblical history and made Jesus' birthday coincide with the pagan god Mithra. The birth date of the sun god had now become the birth date of the Son of God. It was hoped that the pagan celebrations of Saturnalia would merge into this new legally sanctioned form of Christianity. The Church's practice of changing the dates of Christian events to coincide with pagan festivals continued, and by the 7th century Pope Gregory I had ordered Augustine of Canterbury to incorporate any and all pagan practices and customs into the expanding Roman Catholic Church. During the Middle Ages, the debased Mardi Gras atmosphere of what was now known as Christ's Mass had reached a fevered pitch. Common practices included open sex in the streets, rioting, murder, and a number of pagan druidic Halloween rituals. This blood-drenched celebration got so out of hand that by 1652, following the execution of King Charles I, Christ's Mass was finally outlawed in England. A religious reform movement began sweeping the country, led by Puritan Oliver Cromwell. The Puritans took the biblical mandate seriously, which commanded that Christianity remain pure and separate from paganism. Despite their noble efforts, the celebration simply went underground, and by 1656, after only 4 short years under the ban, the public's demand for the legalization of Christ's Mass had become insurmountable. The appointment of Charles II to the throne restored England's monarchy, and with it the celebration of Christ's Mass. The Puritans had lost England, but they held high hopes for the...
Let me run it back by you again. The reason why they gave us Christmas, the reason why they gave us Easter, the reason why they gave us Thanksgiving, the reason why they gave us Valentine's Day, you name it, but their 2 major religious holidays are Christmas and Easter. And the reason why they gave us this was to psychologically induce that lie into our psychoviscera. And how did they do that? They did it when we were children. Children are made to sit on Santa Claus's lap. Now, like I said on the radio this morning, I'm going to be honest with y'all. What I'm saying today, as far as I'm concerned, it has no bearing whatsoever to white folk. That's right. What I'm talking about came from the white man. That's right. This is their pagan practice. And if they want to practice that, then cool. That's them. It came from them. Maybe they find some kind of fulfillment in it. I don't know. But what I do know is it ain't for black folk. It's not from us. It's not for us. Why am I saying that? Because we're talking about pagan practices that were created by a non-spiritual people. And the most damaging thing you can do to a spiritual people is have them to suffer from a psychological impairment by taking on non-spiritual ways. I hope this is making sense to y'all. I found out that too many black folk want the Christ Mass of the Roman Catholic Church. Too many black folk long for the Christ Mass of the Roman Catholic Church. Too many black folk crave for the Christ Mass. That's what it used to be called, y'all, before it was changed to Christmas. Guess what, y'all? In fact, our people who suffer from this psychopathology. Literally need it to exist. Why do they need it to exist, Pastor Ray? Because their psychological impairment, their psychopathology demands it.